To start off, so as you all know, she just finished up her tour, 7 town halls across the state. She also conducted a variety of meetings and events. A couple of highlights: hosted a future forum at Maui College with Greta Swalwell of California, addressing common issues for millennials, including challenges of entering the workforce and solutions to combating increasing student debt. Also visited the Maui Food Innovation Center. She met with young entrepreneurs and students to discuss sustainable business practices and food security on Maui. Also visited the Anahola Hawaiian homestead land. It's being used for residents, farming businesses and projects that particularly benefit Native Hawaiians, right? She joined in a roundtable discussion with Anahola Hawaiian Homestead Association board members, representatives from the Sovereign Council of Hawaiian Homelands Association and the Homeland Community Development Council, as well as other community leaders to focus on the homestead's accomplishments and needs, particularly the Native Hawaiian people's rights, future, and efforts to support food and energy security for the security and the island. Last one, she also visited the world's largest solar storage facility and discussed with Kauai Island Utility Cooperative board members and business leaders about her work to support Hawaii reaching, as you know, this renewable energy goal, as well as trying to make Hawaii that global leader in sustainable development and renewable energy. She is also, well, we're up for essentially 2 weeks of a very busy legislative period, as you folks know. Any updates that may come out will be on our website. And I might be taking questions now.
Let's get down to nitty gritty now.
So there was a couple of different things at the town hall that disconnected with me, and the one thing that kind of offended me at the town hall is there was a lady that stood up to voice about a bill that she had, and your moderator that you had, this really large man, kind of approached her in a way that the visual of it was threatening. You know, and I don't think that he was going to do anything, but the message that sent was not okay. You know, when you have a large man approaching a woman and telling her to sit down and be quiet, it's just not like a message. And then the other things, like, there's parts of the logic that Tulsi said that don't add up to me. Like, she still hasn't claimed that Assad or his regime is culpable in the chemical bombings in Syria.
Can we just stop? Let's talk about the first thing first, because that really is a big issue.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And let's go, the other's a big issue too, but we need to model aloha.
Yeah.
And, you know, we have a president who threatens people, particularly women, but we don't need a member of Congress, our member of Congress doing that.
Yeah.
Intentionally, pre-planned, whatever. That was
the name of the individual.
What?
Yes, it was her MC.
Moderator.
It was her moderator.
No, the individual asking the question.
It doesn't matter. It was a woman. It was a woman asking the question.
I'm just trying to get to the bottom of this. Essentially,
Yeah, I mean, it's on the video.
It's on the video.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
And is she involved with you guys, or is she
Yes,
just?
she is, but it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
I understand. I mean, don't worry. I get the point.
Should feel threatened at a town hall.
Absolutely.
It should be accessible and open a dialogue.
And actually what she was doing, she thought was to be helpful. She had pulled up the roll call on that bill because Tulsi said, I'm not sure, or no, she pulled up the congressional listing on it to see who had signed on to it, and Tulsi had said, I'm not sure if I've signed on to that or not. And Jan stood up, having pulled up what we can all pull up online, and said, no, Congresswoman, you haven't. And the guy was in her face and told her to sit back down.
Okay.
Threatening.
I wasn't there for that, but okay, I'll definitely.
And it was very early in the meeting, which sent the very clear signal.
That's right.
Yeah.
Stay in your seat and shut up until called upon.
Exactly.
Yeah, and I mean, I think the other issue that we have is that, you know, all the questions were like written down and brought down beforehand.
Okay.
And so there's a very, how do we know that whose question is being selected is actually a question that was just taken, or if people are choosing and picking and choosing which ones they're going to take? And so next town halls, we would like a more open format that people can just go to the mic and they can just talk. And I didn't really love that, like, the people wouldn't give you the microphone. Like, it's like you had to walk and find them and they would hold it like a death grip, you know.
So you didn't like that?
No.
No,
Or
it's
the
not.
ability to,
It's
there was
not.
no ability to ask a follow-up, because
Yeah.
quite often frankly, Tulsi didn't answer the question.
She didn't answer the question. She deflected and fogged the issues a lot of times, and so like there wasn't a way. A lot of them, especially the ones having to do with Syria. You know,
So
she didn't actually answer the question.
I'm trying to kind of
Can I go back to the first one, a specific ask?
Yeah.
Could we ask you, the staff, to look at that incident we're talking about? And the perception of many people was this was threatening,
Mm-hmm.
okay? And would we really ask Tulsi to do some looking at that? And did she see that as threatening? Did we misinterpret it? And some response.
Yep.
I mean, we should be modeling.
And I think Bill's point is
And
spot
so-
on. It's
Exactly.
modeling aloha.
That's right.
And
And
whether
so
it was
we'd like
intended
a
to
react.
be-
I'm sorry.
I was just gonna say, whether it was intended to be threatening or not, it was clearly perceived that way.
Yeah.
And we all know that we can do that from time to time. Not mean to be, but be. And this is an administration where threatening women is far too common already.
Mm-hmm.
Threatening anyone, but particularly threatening women. And there were a lot of people in the room, men and women, who were offended by it and, unfortunately, effectively silenced by it,
That's right.
which seemed to have been the intent.
Yep.
And if that was not the intent, we'd really like a reaction from Tulsi on this. Take a look at it's on tape,
Mm-hmm.
and we'd like a reaction.
Did the individual or any of you guys talk to Tulsi after about it?
No.
And this is one of the purposes,
Yeah.
right?
I did mention it to Kendall when he and I were talking, but he knows how I felt about it.
Because she was there right after the town hall.
Yeah, and she was swarmed by people wanting photos.
Yeah.
And the woman who was a constituent who lives in Kailua was really horrified by it.
Mhm.
She was embarrassed. She
Mhm.
felt threatened.
Yeah.
She almost quit getting involved at all in the
And
whole
so her name is
political.
Jan again? Was
Yeah,
it? Okay.
she's a veterinarian
Understood.
in Kailua.
Can I talk about the
You can talk
Well,
about
please,
anything
okay.
you want to.
I want to talk about this. Okay, so
Sit on
she
the
still
edge.
has yet to say that Assad's regime is culpable for the chemical bombings in Syria. I know a contact that's a national security correspondent for CBS News, and the intelligence, which is public intelligence that's available, is like the U.S. monitored that plane from the moment it took off at Shayrat Airport Base for the whole time that it's circled the 20 minutes to that village. We have intercepts of the Syrian officers talking about the attacks. We know that that Air Force base has had chemical weapons in the past. We know that the people that worked with the chemical weapons were there. And then the idea of that it hit a warehouse is really laughable because we have the satellite photos of it hitting the middle of the road. Chemical staining is common in chemical bombs, and that's there in that crater. And so I don't know what other
Not to speak of the symptoms of all the
yeah,
Exactly.
and I don't know what other logic what other intel needs to be there. And so when Tulsi's asked at her town hall about anything with Syria, it seemed like her blanket response was that, you know, I was in the Iraq war and there was no weapons of mass destruction, but to blanket that logic and parallel them is dangerous, and to ignore intel that's clear intel is really dangerous, and that's not acceptable and not okay. You know, and I don't know what other things that she needs in order to say that Assad's culpable, because all that evidence seems pretty airtight to me.
Yeah.
That's all.
Well said.
I'd also like to bring up her continuing unwillingness to speak out and condemn Steve Bannon. She dodged that one too. The man is a public white supremacist.
Well, I want to know, why is Steve Bannon even interested in
Yeah.
Tulsi? He's not interested in
Why?
other Democrats, you know? Why is he interested in her? And why are people like the Kwan brothers that funded money for the Access Group when she went to Syria, who are associated with the Syrian Nationalist Party, which, I mean, in my opinion, that's a biased trip in the first place. If these people that are pro-Assad are doing it, like, I wonder if her, like, perspective was skewed by that, you know? But why are they interested in Tulsi? There was another guy years ago that I think was part of the Hindu Nationalist Party that was very interested in Tulsi. Why are these people whose agendas do not mesh with her constituents?
Exactly.
Why are they all showing interest in Tulsi and not other Democrats?
Richard Spencer is another one of those.
Yes, yeah.
What'd you say, Paul?
Richard Spencer,
Yes.
the alt-right guy.
So there's a history of these
He loves
people.
Tulsi. He
Oh my
tweets about
God.
her all the time.
There's a
He
history
needs
of
to
these
get
people that
punched
don't
again.
gel with what we want as our constituents, showing interest. It's not isolated to one person, you know. That's where a lot of questions and distrust come from me.
Exactly.
And we really haven't had, again, an honest answer. Why are these people,
Exactly.
what's her perception of why are these people around her? We've never, I don't know that we've got an honest answer.
And Tulsi,
Right?
and Tulsi at her town hall said that she doesn't want support. I can't find anything where she has publicly denounced Bannon. I haven't found anything where she's publicly stated this.
And I think the question is less Tulsi denouncing them as why are they
Yeah.
so interested in
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, like I said, I mean, I can certainly pass along that comment. As far as in the past we discussed, I can't speak on behalf, obviously, of Steve Bannon or Richard Spencer or any of these groups. And so, this is the Congressman's office, right? So, like I said, I understand your concern over how it looks in terms of their support, whatever that may be, but yeah, and I'll pass that along.
Yeah, the concern is multiple people, that there's a pattern of this, of multiple people that do not have agendas that would agree with us. And it's not an isolated incident,
You're
there's,
judged by people you hang around with.
Yes.
for sure.
We're talking about very straightforward things too. I mean, it's not really controversial whether it's okay to use chemical weapons.
Yeah.
There's pretty much the entire world has agreed that that processing.
And pretty much everyone that's not a white nationalist agrees that that is dangerous.
Probably not a good way to.
Yeah, don't associate with those people. They're not good. It's not hard.
So can we get a response from her
I can certainly pass along the question.
on all of these questions?
Yeah. Okay.
I don't think I've been here before, so it's
Yeah,
the first
no,
time
go
being
for it.
here.
Yes, sir.
I'm Mahadi. I work with a large group of medical professionals in Hawaii and around this country. I worked at down the street in Queens, and when Tulsi, during the whole last year when she was campaigning for Bernie and all that stuff, I mean, she was very inspirational. I thought, she really energized a lot of progressives. Since that, and a lot of my colleagues, from around the mainland, a lot of my patients, things like that, we're not sure where she stands. So when other issues come up, like healthcare, like immigration, anything, I don't know where she stands to trust her. And that's being as frank as possible, because there's a lot of conflict in where she stands with other issues. And I think that's very troubling when you're supposed to represent your constituents and your extracurricular activities don't vibe with that. So I think these questions will, I'm not speaking for the group, I'm speaking from my group.
Absolutely.
But I think for me, it's very concerning that the position she's taken is not, versus a lot of my other delegation. I can trust when they come out and support something. I trust their intention. I don't know if right now where she stands with certain things, to trust every intention about how she votes. And that affects how I live every day of my life. Everybody I know lives, in terms of, she's very involved locally, and I understand she's doing great things for Hawaii. So I think, I applaud her for that. But again, that carries on to, I'm not sure where she stands to trust where we're going with this. So that's where a lot of my concern comes from.
I can definitely pass that along. Are you signed up to her newsletter? Kind of view her website?
I follow her on Facebook. I follow her
Facebook,
live
okay.
tweets, so I see where she's been active.
I think this speaks to what we've talked about before, that it's not normal times, normal politics, and so even though Tulsi goes and co-sponsors bills that are in line with us, she's not vocal about things and issues that we want, and so that's really what we want to see her as being vocal about these issues that we want, vocal about the Russian Trump investigation, vocal about ACH, vocal, lend her voice. She has a powerful voice.
Are you saying that she's not vocal on ACA?
Well, no, I'm just saying in general on issues, she's been more vocal, when all of our other senators have been vocal about the Russia and Trump investigation, Tulsi's talking about the marijuana decriminalization, and so there's a stark contrast when you look between Hirono, Hanabusa, Schatz, and Tulsi's media output. And so what I'm saying, in general, I want her to be more vocal on the issues that are important. And a lot of the issues that are important to us, we come to you every Tuesday and talk about.
Yeah. When have we ever brought up marijuana?
But I guess
Still an important issue.
It's
It's
still
an
an
important
important
issue.
issue.
Okay,
It's
I'm just gonna tell you right
no,
now.
it's an important issue.
It's
but
important
there's
as far as legalization, but there's more pressing issues.
There's a lot of distractions
It goes hand
happening
in hand
already.
with healthcare, in my opinion.
It does.
But it's the underlying question, this question of trust that we've said.
Exactly.
we don't know why she has these positions,
Right.
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
So it colors everything.
right.
Yeah, so if she's vocal, we know where
That's
she's
right.
with Schatz. We have a lot of trust because he's very vocal about what he stands for.
We-
and is
it's-
vocal line with that.
I think it's also fair to say that we have a lot more trust with those three members because we've personally met with all of them.
Yeah.
All three of them have
Yes.
set aside significant amounts of time.
Meet with
To
us.
talk
To
with
meet
us
with us.
directly.
Anna Busa met with us 2
2
weeks
times.
in a row.
Yeah.
Yeah.
While she was in town.
So yes, we'd like a face to face,
Yeah.
please.
In a small group like this, that'd be great.
Yeah.
Everyone else spoke to us 6 p.m. her time via video conference.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
have technology.
Yeah. That can happen.
The other two things that are coming up this week, there is some talk of a new healthcare bill. No, and no. Anything that includes repeal and replace
Yep.
is something we expect her to toe a very firm line on.
As you know, she sponsors.
And she has been good so far, and I just, send our message that we
Yes.
expect her to
And,
continue
and
that.
she's been great on those points, and
Exactly.
that
Yes.
should be building trust.
Yes.
Right.
And
Yeah.
secondly is the government shutdown. There is to be no money for the wall or quote unquote border security that goes into this.
Yeah.
We're not making deals.
Yeah, I mean, so in the past has been against or has said that building a wall is not a solution, as we discussed in the past.
Yeah.
It's going to drain resources and this from her, from things that we need like education and infrastructure. Yeah.
Planned Parenthood, NPR, Meals on Wheels.
Endowment for the arts. So it gets down to the wire this week, and Friday is the 99th day of this administration. If Republicans shut down the government,
That's
they
on
own
them.
it.
Yeah.
We're not cutting deals. And I know she considers herself a maverick. I know she likes going on both sides of the aisle, and I don't oppose that. I think that's how democracy should work, but not on this. That's a sweet sound.
And could I follow up a question and the strategy we talked about last week, and if you've got a response? We were talking about taxes and tax cuts that are pending and
That's right.
this issue. And I asked kind of a two-way, what is Tulsi's
supports,
position on, on the strategy to support her, no tax cuts without tax returns? Can you advise us on that? How
Not
she
yet,
feels?
but I
Okay.
definitely did pass it on.
Okay, and again, this is a question, goes both ways. How would she advise us, and should we take that position?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you think we'll have an answer next week?
I'll ask. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Anything else, gang?
No, I think we're good.
Yeah.
I think